我应不应该去戴耳机，还是把个耳机戴上吧？哈。
Hello， 我听一下。
Oh, yeah, we begin.
You have a voice?
I miss. Yes, I can hear.
GTV have a voice.
GTV, let me
Yeah,
see.
okay, it's okay. Check about YouTube.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Can you hear that? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 Yeah, I can.
Hello. Hello.
I can.
GTV. I can't hear
GTV?
the voice sound from GTV.
GTV have sound.
Can you?
No voice? I listen have a. Your voice is no?
GTV 好像没有听到，我是现在把耳机插到了那个 Skype 上面了。
有啊 ，GTV 有声音。
GTV 有声音是吧？
对，有声音。
哦，那行吧。
I share about.
我把这个 GTV 给它声音关掉了，行啊。有没有可能就是你往这个群里去发一个链接，然后通知大家这样
？Now is live. We can use English.
Oh yes, please.
Wait a minute. I share the link for the group.
Yeah, that's amazing because I don't know how to share the link.
Okay.
That's strange.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I need the music.
We still have 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, 1 minute will be.
Yeah.
We can start. YouTube and GTV is now live.
All right.
Okay. We can start.
It's still 1 minute to go.
Yes, I hear it's 7 o'clock.
Is it at 12 on your side?
We can start now. I turn off the.
I see no one coming.
Happy. Maybe now the GTV later will be. You can start.
Okay.
It's okay.
Oh, we can start. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. Let's say. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Himalaya UK channel. This is our weekly English language live broadcasting program entitled Hong Kong Signs of the Times, and it's hosted by Sky Sun, a very smart young man from Hong Kong, and me, Dr. Ming of the Go Library. So say hello to our audience, please, Sky.
Hello, everybody. We have the edition 5, the Hong Kong side of the Times. They start our channel broadcast. Welcome to listen again about our story about Hong Kong.
Yeah, and today the topic is about the brainwashing education imposed by the Chinese Communist Party CCP government in Hong Kong, and particularly Sky chooses the lens of the liberal education textbook in terms of how the content and topics have been reviewed, yeah, and rewritten by the governmental authority. The idea is that he's going to show us some posters that were originally made by Hong Kong natives, and then Sky collects all these posters and he arranged them and in order to show us the stories, particularly for this topic. Yeah. Brainwashing education. That is what's going on in Hong Kong. So, yes, please, Sky, could you show us the posters?
Okay, we saw the first, the data.
The first one.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We can see about they have two pictures. Today our topic is about library education, how to brainwash the student, their mindset, or have the one voice for CCP. You can see these two poster. The left hand side is the one eye in the all is red, and then this is let me to think about there's one book 1984 George Orwell. This book is in mainland is a computer system. For now, that is going to Hong Kong. So there is all is you can see CCP and then the Hong Kong government how to let the people to have a stop their voice and how to bring which their student or maybe younger people their mindset and influence of their CCP culture for the people to think of the mainland people. They will be not talk about everything. Just need to work or study. It's okay.
Yeah, so the first poster, it shows us that now the so-called liberal education is very much aligned to the CCP's brainwashing purpose. Yeah, and from this poster we see that there is a national flag of the PRC, People's Republic of China. Of course, that's the CCP China is ruled by this one party, yeah, the CCP. And also we can see that there's a CCP flag with the symbols of the sickle and hammer. And so this is the say like embodiment of the CCP's so-called proletarian solidarity, which represents the industrial working class and the agricultural working class. And it's very funny because I read a report yesterday which reported that in Brazil, yeah, the president's son, who's also a lawmaker, introduced a proposal to designate this symbol as a Nazi, something like a Nazi should be banned. Yeah, it should be banned in Brazil. It's very interesting. And also we can see that, well, with this party flag, CCP flag, and then as PRC flag at the background, which is very much red, and in the front is the darkness, yeah, of those buildings that shows that, well, this is the situation under the control of the party. But however, in the middle there is this eye, and it's a watching eye. It's red, yeah. It shows that Big Brother, like the CCP, is watching you. And as you said, mentioned about like in the ovarian state, which is generally prevailing in the mainland China now extends to Hong Kong, which used to be a British colony and which is supposed to be a region with high autonomy. However, just forget about that. And this shows that Hong Kong today is becoming a Orwellian state as well. It's a surveillance state. It's also a police state.
Yeah.
It's watched by the CCP. And some narratives are very interesting. It also shows the cleverness of this poster maker. It said there's a CCP special version.
Yeah,
Hong Kong today. That's the CCP special version. And also it said it's the author is the pro CCP immoral people. Yeah, and it's reviewed by the Hong Kong government, of course, who's the proxy of the CCP.
Yeah.
CCP Hong Kong government. And what is ironic here is also it's a satirical. It's said the Truth Department of Hong Kong province. So Hong Kong is basically like a province of China. It's not like special administrative region anymore. It doesn't have also autonomy. Yeah. So this is all about it. That's a very clever poster. So, yeah. What about the one on the right?
Yeah. And the right is about Carrie Lam. That is about Cambridge University said they will be about the Hong Kong, the protesting the movement. So they will be for every process, and they will tell the share them they will be close their honor. But on the first, the share them will said early said that they ditched the honor. They don't give up the honor because I say this comments is the poster is tell about people is I give up you, you give up me. So this is very you can think about the office of a share name today. Now the university to will say everything because they do is maybe the human rights or there's we can say how many younger people or the student or protester today how to disappear, and then how the where the shoe is now is not frown about that. So maybe they maybe a joke for now for here, but I think it's very upset because now all Hong Kong is different.
It is. The second is basically it's also telling a story, and we know this woman, this cartoon character is Carrie Lam, the current chief executive of Hong Kong, and of course she's appointed by the CCP government, right? So she does everything and she says everything for the CCP, and this is she was awarded a so-called honorary fellowship by a college of the Cambridge University in the UK, Wolfson University that was. And since last year, after the eruption of the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, and the Wolfson College has been under pressure in terms of to take away the Carrie Lam's honorary fellowship, and they issued a letter to express their concerns in terms that this Hong Kong government, headed by Carrie Lam, had been oppressed the Hong Kong protests, and also there are lots of facts to show that her government has suppressed freedom of speech, academician liberty, and also academic freedom. And there's also violations of human rights, and they show their concern. And of course, And about to say express to say, you know, when they granted this fellowship to honorary fellowship to Carrie Lam, they supposed her as defendant of all these values, right? The
Yeah.
defendant of human rights, a defendant of freedom of expression. and and then Kevin got also very embarrassed, and it's very likely if she didn't take any action, and that her honorary title would be taken away. So she'd rather take some actions in order to save her face,
Yeah.
and she gave it back. She gave it back, and then, so it shows that okay. He say, it's me who returns the honorary fellowship to you, not you who takes away from me. So in that way, she saves her face. So this cartoon is about that. Yeah, you can see that. So
Yeah.
yeah, of course, we all understand that if not because of her oppression of the pro-democracy movements last year, the Wolfson College, Cambridge won't have had that kind of concern. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is all about that. It's relating to not only human rights but also related to academician liberty. Yeah, freedom of expression, freedom of expression of speech. It's all related to education as well. And this is relevant to our topic today. Yeah.
So they so curriculum is doing about the next step about bring rushing about the student because
Mm.
because because they're coming the education for in the Hong
Uh,
Kong train
liberal
the
education.
yeah.
Yes, liberal
Okay, we
education.
sold about the next yeah okay
Uh,
the
It's more related to the
yeah
secondary education, right? Secondary schooling. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
this one, you can see the one brush have a mobile app is open in CCP. There's a console. How many apps you in your mobile is now in install the your mobile in here? If you have, I
Hmm.
I suggest you
Yeah.
need to delete.
The apps are very popular, I must say. There's the social, most of them are social media apps, right?
Yeah, it's more about the I think about foreign Chinese people. They will all is relied about the CCP mobile app because they are not use the
Yeah.
English and more about they are use the mainland and then they more about talk about the Chinese. So they really they think about their this mobile app is very important because they not need to up they however they go move out for in other country they not use their English, maybe they just don't want to learning about their English. They need only to find who is talking about Chinese, and then they just only in other country and talk Chinese. It's okay. So their mobile also is not watching about their CCP the information. So who is control this app? You can see they're very simple. Have the can
Mm.
control.
Yeah. Yes. And we also, so this poster is also very, it tells lots, it's very storytelling. We can see that it's sort of about what really feeds, yeah, what really is fed into the social media, and who's controlling the content. Yeah, we can see that that's the PRC flag, which shows that it's based in China, and you have this tab. Yeah, so it's control, it shows the control, and we have this CCP symbol on it. It's like the sickle and the hammer. That's a CCP emblem. Yeah. Yes. And it shows the CCP is in control of this social media. So what are the social medias? The social medias, these are the most apps that most people installed in their mobiles. Yeah, mobile devices, either iPad or iPhone, mostly iPhone, and we can see what they are. There are, for example, there are QQ, there are Tencent, there are WeChat, there are
TikTok.
that TikTok, yes, TikTok, and iQIYI.
Yeah.
That's also, that's controlled by Baidu, and now there's a big scandal coming out that it's actually involved in accounting of fraud. So they fabricated their incomes and profits in order to say draw more money, suck more money from the U.S. Stock exchange market, to say try to get more money from to cheat, to get more money from the investors. And that's a big, huge scandal. And that's a Chinese company, and it's also a social media app. And we can see that also Western media. We can see the symbol of Twitter and Facebook. Right?
Also.
They're all there. And also, YouTube, right? That's YouTube. And Instagram. And I think that mobile phone thing is about WhatsApp. So there are lots of things there going on, and people need to be very careful, because many apps, installed on your mobile phone and iPad could be could be controlled actually by Beijing-based companies. Of course, they at least by the Chinese law that they have the obligations to submit the users' privacy information and data to Beijing. So that is how the CCP controls people or surveil people via this social media, via these apps. So that's the what this poster tells us.
And then the main reason is CCP is keeping the 1.4 billion people. There is control them because there is a big market. There's a really have a huge economy in the world. But now is CCP control and kidnapping about the Chinese people. And also they will say we have the 1.4 billion is agreed stand with CCP. I will say now CCP is not equal about China, not equal about the Chinese people. They don't people have not voice, then they have not voice authority. There's only control about China people, and then you can see the brainwashing is very, very important. Very important in their control.
I quite agree with you, because people may take for granted, think that okay, China means Chinese people, and the CCP means Chinese people. No, they are different. So CCP is the ruling party, is the one party, that is ruling China.
Yes.
And it's a tyrannical regime. It is a authoritarian list regime, and now we understand. So based these social apps, the CCP actually controls people's narratives, controls public opinions, without people's awareness. And we also realize that you see, not only the CCP controls people's mind, controls the minds of the people who are living inside mainland China, but those who live outside China. People may assume that there's the internet firewall just functions for those inside China, but actually no. Through this social media, through the social media, the Chinese firewall actually functions beyond the territory of China.
Yeah.
Because you have all this like information fed. Lots of them are fake, lots of them are disinformation, and they are just aligned to the CCP's ideology and the CCP's doctrines and the CCP's opinion, CCP's information. So they are not real. They could be totally fake, and then they could give you some upside down information. But if you don't know how the CCP control your mind, and then you would say like cannot tell the difference what is true, what is false.
Yeah.
So this is also something when I was invited to say like address some issues in Ban Long's war room last week, and he's talking about, he asked my advice, and one thing I mentioned is the spread the truth. So it's not about say like internet war, internet sort of like internet firewall. It's about the true credible sources of information. So even if you tear down the firewall, if this social media are still functioning, and the CCP is still allowed to feed the fake information and disinformation, and through this, and people still have got confused. Yeah,
Yeah.
they still don't know. They still don't know that they are so like controlled. They still be fooled by this false information. So that's the point.
Only
I
one
think
voice.
this tells that.
Yeah, only one voice, and then they can control and confuse you
Yes.
right or wrong. And then you can see the right hand side,
Yeah.
CCP is going to a I will say cultural genocide. But in Hong Kong now, the traditional Chinese is coming to miss. Some people will use their simple Chinese, and then the Cantonese teacher is now Cantonese in Hong Kong is our mother language, but now
Yes.
that teacher will try to use the Mandarin, and then to
Yeah.
teach the
Mandarin.
Mandarin,
Mainland Mandarin.
yeah,
Mainland. Yeah. The
mainland Mandarin,
simplified
yeah,
language.
to
Yeah.
teach the student, because they will try to use the culture, the disappeared about the Cantonese culture. That's why I
Yes.
thinking about the next in near
In
in
Mongolia.
Mongolia, yeah,
In
in the Mongolia
Mongolia.
now is
Yes.
same as the situation. They
Yeah.
allow is stronger. They need to use the Chinese culture, but they will dismiss their in Mongolia their language. The
Yes.
CCP is many years to disappear about more about the country, like about the in Taiwan they have a Minam language, or the
Yes.
Beijing Beijing Hong their language there also is disappear. So because they have a one control for by the one culture, just a CCP culture. They want to other
Yeah.
people know, don't have do not have other culture, because they think they lie to the about before they have the genocide to other people.
Yeah. Yes. This the post, as you say, on the right, it's about to say like the Hong Kongers question. So here is like the question raised by the so-called linguistic therapist. Yeah. And the Hong Kong government say gave excuse in terms of why it wants to replace the Hong Kong local language by the Chinese simplified version of language.
Yeah.
It said, okay, and the government said, well, it's good to say like the words here means that it's good to help to improve your language capability, and the therapist, as a professional, said no, there's no such a thing.
Yeah.
But what concerns them is that if you replace your local language, and then means that when your language is getting disappeared, then so is your culture, local culture, right?
Yeah.
So if your local culture get disappeared, then you lost your our cultural identity. So this is actually the CCP's tactics to control a particular group of people. Yeah, and through control language, it controls the culture, it controls the values, it controls people's thinking. That's what this poster is telling us.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, yes, we all now keep on close watching and tracing what's happening in Inner Mongolia. So basically, we got a report that the government now stops teaching Mongolian language and rather replace the Mongolian language teaching by Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
Mandarin, and also they teach the courses, yeah, such courses like not language courses, not only languages courses. They replace the language when teaching politics, history, and the so-called morality courses. So then, in that case, that Mongolia as a ethnic group, the children won't know, won't understand their language anymore. So that means as they then in about like a few years, and people can see that when they lost their language, their culture would be disappeared. So
Yeah.
then this is the way the CCP tries to, remove, or as you said, okay, to conquer the culture, to conquer some minority groups, and actually this sort of like a language, culture control, has been, going on, in Tibet and also in Xinjiang for many years.
Yeah.
For many years, if you check their textbooks, yeah, you will see that there are lots of courses are written in Mandarin language rather than in their own language, like Tibetans or like a Uyghur language.
Yeah.
So that's going on now. Now it's the turn of Hong Kong.
Yeah. So we can see the next poster.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there is come about the Catholic school. There is a have a region school, and then they now, because Hong Kong have a national security law and then the
Mm.
national entry law, so they teach the student need to have a good concept about the national security law. They need to
Yeah.
protect them, and then they will say no, go to the policy about the school is only studied place. They not let any about the policy to inside the school, but they
Huh.
teach the student need to uh, need to follow about CCP law, and then
Yeah.
need to salute about the flag. Maybe the future you will have the national the broad flag law in Hong Kong, because you see about the CCP flag or the about our Chinese flag, you need to salute. That this image is come, I think maybe the same of about the one people, that you can see the police state Hong Kong is now everything is more about light, more mainland China city. So the school this about the gender is about the genocide journalism.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yes. This is
religion.
also something special because we understand that Hong Kong, yeah, in Hong Kong, there's a large population who are Catholic, yeah, and so they have their educational schools locally, and this is these schools are not freed from the CCP educational control or censorship. And these schools, Catholic schools, already got the order from the authority, and the authority requests these Catholic schools now from the new term, yeah, the staff, academician staff, academic staff, as well as the administrative staff need to be aware that the students must be must get the knowledge of the so-called national security law for Hong Kong, and as well as the law for the national flag of the PRC. So this is also shows the encroachment of the CCP's surveillance into the Catholic jurisdiction. And also these schools are supposed to say, okay, they need to sorry, uh, uh, say that prevent the campus from being politicized. So that is very interesting because based on our understanding, when you say like introduce this the PRC national security law and the law of anthem into the Catholic schools, that's sort of like a politicalization, right? Politicalization, right? But no, the CCP's meaning is that the students are not allowed to say like to talk about politics, to discuss about like political issues. They're not supposed to challenge the governmental positions. So that is called not political sized. So that is the CCP's true intention. And also, when we go further, we understand it better, it's clearer, is that the CCP said, or well, the government said, okay, that's the same thing, yeah. And the campus shouldn't become a venue for anyone to promote, yeah, say their alternative political information or petition or appeal. So it shows that other than the governmental political position, no one should challenge, no one should discuss, no one should question, no one should debate about any political issues.
Yeah, there is a.
So this is basically that trains people to be obedient, yeah, to the government. So that is called an unpoliticalized of the campus.
Yes.
And now even the Catholic schools are not freed from this kind of censorship and surveillance. This is what's going on in Hong Kong.
Yeah, okay. We can go to next about our relying education. Now, left hand side, the teacher, the liberal education, the textbook will be they delete their message because before Hong Kong have a basic law. Some people they are talking about what happened or the food or the everything. But now Hong Kong is now delete about the freedom, delete about the rule of a law, and then human rights. And then they not allow about umbrella and the tide. Umbrella revolution.
Movement. Movement. Umbrella movement. Yes.
You can see the basic law said you can available to talk or to write down or anything. But now just only talk. But Hong Kong government or CCP, they will have some action. They will be give the message. to the about pusher, the publisher, publisher.
Yeah, polish. Yes,
Polish, yeah.
yes. It's like
They,
war paint.
yeah, they will be
So
warning
it's a
to them.
whitewash lots of things.
Yeah,
Yeah, indeed.
that you
Yeah.
can.
We can see this is to me is not very surprising because I don't suppose you can find anything like that in any textbook in mainland China. So I think to many Chinese, lots of say like concepts are rather new. For example, rule of law, yeah, and human rights,
Yeah.
and like public disobedience, and like umbrella movement. Of course, these are all very say like much related to the pro-democracy movements
Yeah.
erupted from last year. And of course, the government is very scared, and we can see that they basically want to say like by deleting these topics, these terms, and these concepts away from the textbooks. They want to say like remove this part of history, this part of events from people's memory, and then especially to this like a young students' education, that better they don't know nothing about them, yeah, so that they won't follow, they won't say like a question, they won't say like challenge the governmental position. So this is so like it's a liberal education, which is so like it's prevailing in the secondary education in Hong Kong. So we now see it is totally so like whitewashed by the CCP, and we can also see here, and originally in the Hong Kong textbooks, this they talk about the June 4th massacre, yeah, in 1989 in Tiananmen Square, right?
Yeah.
And now, of course, this is also sensitive. It's a sensitive topic. This is supposed to be removed as well. So they rather the CCP government give you totally a disinformation. It said, okay, it's not something like a pro-democracy movement, yeah. It was something like a political unrest at the turn of the spring and at the turn of spring and the summer in 1989. So they say, well, because of that kind of political unrest, and the public was very upset, and they say that also so like weakened the governmental governance and performance, and also threatening or endanger the Chinese the stability of the Chinese society. So this is entirely disinformation. However, this information is inserted now into the textbooks of the Hong Kong liberal education. Yeah, that's that, right? And this is, and then we can see the cartoon. The CCP is still shamelessly to say, yeah, we still have this Hong Kong mini constitution specifically named as basic law. It still functions. It helps you. It protects you. But no, we know it's totally it doesn't work anymore. The law is totally something else. The law, the government actually used the law to safeguard its own interest rather than the Hong Kong people's. And also you can see that other things also are removed from the textbook. And for example, anything anything negative about the government's ruling, and anything which so like are satirical, yeah, about the government, and you only allowed to say positive things about the government, and something very so like beautified, yeah, the mainland China.
I can
Of
tell.
course.
I can tell the story about this subject about liberalist education. They have one topic
Yes.
is in my study in the before. That is you
Yeah.
need to study one is what is a special Chinese culture about special about the society culture. That's I forget how to say that. There is a because the Chinese CCP they said their society system is different, is a special. They have a one there is same of about the capture system, but they have a society system. So they will tell special. You need to expand experience what is this about the system. So you need to all the good thing inside you to go to the test. You need to jot down many about how to beautiful that the one special CCP system. So if you write down a real maybe write down a shoe, your exam is failed. So I remember this. I have one topic is talking about that.
I guess what you mean. You mean the CCP would say find excuse for their failures to say this is so-called Chinese social. This is socialism with Chinese characteristics. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, they have
so that means yes, there are some failures. However, well, we are testing, we are doing experiments. Yeah. So in the process, that they're bound to have some failures because we need to try errors.
Yeah.
So we have something which are negative. However, we still try to make great achievements. Was still great. Is that what you say?
Yeah, that is one topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what is that's the tactics adopted by the CCP. Try to fool people, and also try to find excuse for their own failure.
Yeah.
It's there's a socialism with Chinese characteristics.
Yeah.
So this Chinese society is somehow special.
Yeah.
So yes, it is special, and because the CCP is always great, the party is always great, the party is always right, yeah, it's always glorious, and the party hasn't done anything wrong, and the party just try errors. So and then there are some costs, there are some failures, there are some negative things. However, well, that's the necessary cost that the party needs to pay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's the logic. Yes, that's the tactics. That's how the CCP try to fool people.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, we show next poster about.
There's one thing I remember. Yeah, that's what we learned when we were in school. That's what we were taught.
Yeah.
Yes, by the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
There is
so that this so that the government assured people that the future will getting better, although we are now having some setbacks. That's necessary, so to assure people so that people could become more tolerant, could be obedient, and won't say disobey the government, won't say protest or challenge the government. So that's the tactics. Yes, indeed.
Okay, the next about is also is talking about how the Hong Kong the day unit, and then they have mainly about just like freedom of peace is not longer guaranteed in Hong Kong. In the passion of the basic law, there is now for many things is different. For now is Hong Kong now situation. So there's a Hong Kong police force is also we jot down that Hong Kong. You can remember about 21st June and 31st August. That's how the police they use their terrible attack Hong Kong people. But now they need to beautiful the police. They will do anything.
Beautify, yeah. So war paint, whitewash. They are misconduct.
Then
the wrongdoings. Yes.
I think about the everybody will be listen about more in now is about the separation of power. And now Hong Kong is no separation of power. There is come from the Chilean or many people officer Hong Kong people who taught that.
Yeah. So we have two posters here.
Yeah.
This also are the contents, are the new contents, yeah, shown in the textbooks. So we can see what have been deleted and what have been added, yeah, to this textbooks. So on the left, you can see that, you see,
Yeah.
for example, on the top, those are the factual information. So, for example, Hong Kong people, they have questions, yeah. They have some complaints about, for example, what China has brought to Hong Kong. So it has put up the price, yeah, and the so-called like individual free travel has caused chaos to Hong Kong, and there are also smugglers, yeah, who really so like affect the market order, um, and the worst, of course, is the introduction of this tyrannical like ruling governors. And however, the Hong Kong people, yeah, they don't want to kowtow. They don't want to appease the government. They say no, we are Hong Kongers. Yeah, we don't like to accept these things, and they want to say like they emphasize their identity as Hong Kong people, Hong Kongers, and they want to restore their community, and they want to say no to CCP, and they want to say like remove the CCP and get rid of the CCP from their home city. So that is the fact, and also on the and it also shows that as native Hong Kongers, they found the business wise, yeah, the business situation, the environment is getting worse as well. For example, they face more expensive rent, right? And also there are lots of small shops and vendors who face when in the face of this and the influx of the mainland Chinese, and they couldn't survive.
Mm.
And the smugglers, yeah, the smugglers and tourists came. They brought a business to say like other shops and vendors, particularly like luxurious shops and vendors, and so they couldn't really survive, and driven by their appetite, and the community, the consumption structure became more and more say like a uniform, and so people say like something they like, yeah, like a traditional thing, more traditional thing, are just disappearing. So they want to really say like they think they have the responsibility to safeguard, to defend their local and traditional and native economy. That's the facts. However, you cannot really see anything reflecting their textbooks, originally their work. You see what they have moved. For example, they have moved everything concerning the Hong Kong police force who abuse their powers, yeah, and they really have committed many wrongdoings, and there are lots of say like recorded misconducts that happening during the pro-democracy movement last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, as when Hong Kong people went to the street for peaceful protests, to peaceful assembly, yeah, and they just exercised their rights of assembling, of showing, so like expressing their different opinions, their true speech, their true opinions, and however they got to say like beaten up and attacked violently by the police. So we all see that, and you particularly mentioned on the mentioned incidents, respectively, happened on 21st July and 31st August. So in the first instance, like on the 21st July, there's a coalition between the triad, right, the mobs,
Mm.
who violently attacked people in Yuanlang. And then in the second case, which was on the 31st August, then we saw the police version of a violence attack on innocent civil servants, which was in the MTR, Prince Edward Station, and the police elite force, the Raptors, violently attacked indiscriminately the passengers or alleged protesters and everyone. So these are all now removed from textbooks. You can't see them anymore. And another thing was that, of course, this basic law, which was supposed to be a mini constitution of Hong Kong as an autonomous region, and now it's interpreted not by the Hong Kong democratically elected legislators or its independent Justice Department. However, it's interpreted by the National People's Congress based in Beijing. So that's a totally something violating to the basic law. Well, now you can't see any different opinions from textbooks either. Well, the last one, of course, is about freedom of press. Freedom of press in terms that the government obstructs the reporters to cover particular issues, right? And of course, and the newspapers are mostly become mostly just say things, just copy what the CCP says. Of course, now the most newspapers are controlled by the CCP, so they're basically propaganda mouthpieces of the government. And of course, we know that Hong Kong Apple Daily is one of the very few, and so is the Apple Times. And that's how the government control the freedom of press and expression. And unfortunately, these issues is supposed to be, of course, very challenging to the government, and then it's removed from textbooks. Yeah. And students won't know them anymore.
That situation let me about mainland, that you have a sensitive word, and then some message you cannot share, or you can find out the 404 the information is dismissed, or the sensitive word can search. For now, in mainland there's a high technology monitored. For now, in Hong Kong, is a textbook monitor about the student. They start to some sensitive word they will missing, and then you just only have or this government is qualified, have all is a good, and then start to younger people. We can show the next.
Oh yeah, sorry. One moment, please.
Okay.
The second one, yes, this one, the right one, haven't coming here. Yes, you mentioned one thing, like we all know that in China there's online censorship. In terms that the government uses this technology, or they use the so-called internet army to filter out or to delete many sensitive words, never mind the sensitive topics. Yeah. So, and now, for example, in Hong Kong, we can see the censorship in relating to these textbooks. This is secondary educational textbooks, and one typical example is the so-called separation of the governmental powers. We know there are three branches of government power: the executive and the judicial, and also legislative. So these basically is a kind of structure that have checks and balance against each other. That's a good way to limit the government, so that the government couldn't really be arbitrary and do whatever it wants without checks and restraint and discipline. And but rather this government, between the governmental branches, they would check and balance against each other. Yeah, so that is a good way to say like restrict the government's power, to discipline the government's power.
Yeah.
And now this is not supposed to be seen in a textbook. So Hong Kong, especially based on its British heritage, yeah.
Yeah.
So part of it is this governmental institutions. So you have this constitutional arrangement, which is typically of this separation of powers. Yeah. So the government is supposed to serve the people. So it's not supposed to be it's supposed to be democratically elected, which is supposed to represent the people's interest and positions and serve the people. And now this cartoon is very strange. It shows that the separation of government power would so like would tear apart the social interest. That's entirely say like a upside down
Yeah.
information about the separation of power. But that is exactly the CCP. What the CCP wants to say like rewrite. Yeah, want to rewrite because the CCP's regime is a totalitarian regime.
Yeah.
It's authoritarian regime. It wants to keep power all by its own hand. Yeah, nobody is not allowed to say like to monitor it, to restrain it. It has unlimited power to do that. And then you always say, claim that it serves the people and it does everything in the people's interest, but it's absolutely a lie. It's a blatant lie. So then now we can see, and in this Hong Kong textbook, we see this totally false information there. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's about the separation of power. And now, and of course, you won't see that anymore. You're not supposed to discuss anymore like the merit of separation of power. And then it also would say, well, in this case, the government would say like draw upon the basic law to say, well, there's no stipulation about the separation power. So it seems that the CCP has the legitimacy to claim that there's no separation of power. And now next is also the students want to learn anything about the so-called social disobedience. So because you're trained to be obedient, you shouldn't have the basic idea that you are allowed to disobey, to challenge the governmental position. It's just so you're supposed to be say like treated like slaves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then you're only allowed to accept anything what the government says. So that is the purpose. And the next thing, of course, you see the historical events. You would never sing anything relating to Tiananmen Square massacres, as we said, discussed before. And also, this Wuhan protest is basically something relating to the people's also unrest in this small town of Wuhan. When the local corrupt officials try to say like make decision without the people's consent to say like to sell out their land, for the developers to make money. And they, of course, they would take all the benefit, and the people take the cost. So you're not allowed to learn anything about that. So this is also like a systematically whitewashing the CCP's evilness, failure, and all the bad things it has done, in China and now in Hong Kong. So we can, based on this kind of textbooks, we also got the very dangerous, a very alarming signal in terms that, of course, Hong Kong's political system, governmental system would be totally replaced, and it won't be a democratic institutions anymore. Now it's become a CCP styled authoritarian government.
Yeah.
So you don't have separation of power.
No.
You're supposed to only say like claim allegiance to the CCP regime. Yeah. So this is just one power, one party power. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is all about this.
So we need to tell the poster to tell to promote about the student. There will be we will need to say brainwash is no. The demonstration is
Democracy education. Yes.
Yeah, education is become for the family, and then you the family how can guide about the student their parent their son or their how to
The children. Yes.
have a more one voice. You need to independent to thinking about what what the world have a more voice. No, what is about the CCP? What is about the democracy? Democracy.
That's very interesting because based on my personal experience, I found throughout my education, primary and secondary and even select tertiary educations, and we basically all the things we learned and even the examines we when we give our answers, we already have the answers. We're given the ready answers, and all we need to do was to memorize the answers, and then write them down. And so you can get high scores only when you say like memorize the answers and gave the answers that they expect. And you're not supposed to say like have your own idea, your own opinion. Or if you have, of course, you must stay within a certain say like borderlines. You must say the things which are very agreeable to what the government say or what you are taught to say. So of course we are not supposed to be able to think independently or think critically or think creatively. So, and then you see, the Hong Kong, traditionally speaking, the students are taught, and or through this kind of liberal education, they should acquire the skills of independent thinking, critical thinking, and creative thinking. So now we can see their textbooks are becoming more and more like those in China. They want to know, they cannot tell the difference. What is, like you say here, is a tyranny. What is the social class and what is democracy? They won't know that anymore. And these are supposed to be the very basic knowledge that they should learn from very primary stage. So this is part of the CCP brainwashing education. And then we can see here people should say no to that.
Yeah.
And then, rather they should like stick to this primary education this education about democracy from the very early stage.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay, we saw the next the poster. I think this top poster will more interesting for everybody. Yeah, they have there is a comic, like a comic, and 4 pictures, 4 photo, and there's the girl is the searching about something, and then the next one is about the Hong Kong liberation Hong Kong, and then revolution of our times.
Revolution
of our time.
Yes.
But you can see that they have some censor word is missing, because now in Hong Kong this age word cannot show out, because in national law security law they will dismiss about you cannot find out. The reason is a sensitive word, and then the girl go to school, and then they have a yellow school bed, and then you can see the meaning. The mean, you can see the one hand is a black hand in the neck,
around the neck
there. Then
Yeah, around the neck.
you can the backhand, and then they have a CCP logo, and then because
Yes.
they capture this girl, and then you are against, or you are entity of government, so they buy out these people and then maybe dismissed. Then the last one is the other student is go to school and then study good, and then thinking about the future, can have a good job, and then one people will be thinking where the girl. So you can see this model is a lie. Maybe in Hong Kong is a system. But I think in mainland there is very common, because the people, some children disappeared, and the country is not care about that, because they understand the student where she go, and then yeah, there is a comment. Maybe next poster is I can talk about more.
Yeah, this is the comic. So we can see 4 pictures here, and this girl is apparently a schoolgirl, yeah. And she, of course, she could search things on the internet, but now in Hong Kong, there's some particular terms cannot be really searched.
Yeah.
Because they are sensitive terms, like liberate Hong Kong or restore Hong Kong, revolution of our time, and these are the slogans which were chanted and used in the protest movement, protests for pro-democracy movements last year, and now they become sensitive words, and they couldn't be shown properly. And so like 5 demands, no, not one less, and these have all become sensitive, right? It's all so they're supposed to be like blocked or deleted or filtered out by the surveillance or the internet censorship. And now we can see this girl, and in the third one, well, this is the bottom left picture, we can see this young girl walking in the street, and she's carrying a school bag, and we can see what is scary is that we can see like a pair of black hands surrounding her neck, and on one of his hand we can see the rest. There is a CCP flag. So that gave us that tells the story, like these young girls, they are get strangled or controlled by the CCP. They got choked by the education. You can see the black hands coming from the school bag. So that's very symbolic. Yeah, it tells the story. What also attracts my attention is that the name of some small shops. This is like a baodi, the wington noodle.
Yeah.
So I understand that baodi means the basement of the Legislative Council building in Hong Kong. That particular area is officially designated for assembly. Yeah. So when Hong Kong protesters went to the legislature to protest against the introduction of the extradition bill amendment by Carrie Lam, and they went there to protest. And now, of course, under the national security law, this movement is not allowed anymore. So it's rather it's a sarcastic, it's very sarcastic. And the last photo, we can see this is also storytelling. You can see like this classroom, but however we can see this student who's thinking where his his classmate has gone.
Everybody,
So missing, yeah, missing
everybody
ones,
no care
etc.
about them.
And also on the blackboard, yes, on the blackboard we can see what the chalkboard, yeah, the chalkboard. Above the chalkboard, there's a national flag of the PRC, and then there is a slogan there. This is Mao Zedong, the former party secretary, the first party secretary. Yeah, Mao Zedong's remark is something like study well, improve every day. So this is rather tragical because you cannot imagine that this was a Mao Zedong. We all know he's a big demon, and he's the founder of the CCP, the devil. And now we are in the 21st century, and his words and his remarks should be all say like binned. But now, unfortunately, we found they now appeared in the schooling of Hong Kong. So this is really terrible, yeah.
Yeah, then you can see all the student is focused their study because they have a name about who is study good and who is study bad, and then the all is brainwashing the student. They only focus their study, no focus who is disappear, because their
Oh,
disappear is not care about their situation.
ah,
There's no care about them. They will not asking about the teacher that will happen for the now. So
uh,
that is it. There is a commie, right? And I saw the next one is there's a rule in Hong Kong for
yeah.
the 1 and 1.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, younger.
This is also, yeah, terrible. So tell us what it's about, please.
Yes, there's one more about the people, the younger people, they will disappear for in Hong Kong.
Mm.
Yeah.
Are you right?
Okay.
Okay, let me talk
Yeah.
about it. Okay, let me talk about it. So, there's just some examples of what's going on in Hong Kong. Yeah, what's occurring in Hong Kong. So, like young people, there are cases that young people got snatched and taken away by unmarked vehicles. We didn't know who actually, whom these vehicles belonged to. But then young people got snatched just in the street, yeah, and taken away by these vehicles. And so we have three examples here. For example, this on 27th March this year, a 32-year-old young guy was taken on a vehicle. Yeah, you can see these vehicles all share the same number. It's a TB27 and people questioned whether this is a vehicle which belongs to this police department named like cyber crime case investigation. And then this 32-year-old man who was snatched and taken away on 27th March finally got finally was charged like how do you say incite to harm people, yeah, or say like incite an obstruction in public areas. And then another case happened. This happening in Zhaokang. Yeah, that's one location. And then on another day in another place, this 28-year-old son was also snatched and taken away. And then this person was charged by something like
Technology.
conspired or instigate
Yeah.
to commit murder or to how do you say let me see, let me clear what is it. Okay, incite and delude others to commit criminal offense by damaging and destroying. Yeah, and then the third case happened in Wanzai on 20th August.
Yeah.
There's a 26-year-old sorry, woman who was snatched and taken away, also by the same vehicle. Sorry. Allegedly by the same vehicle because it bears the same number plate, and it's said, and she's charged like committed an offense or dishonesty or dishonest intention to access computer. So that's what's going on.
They will the police will set the the secret card, or they have some have a no signal. You cannot signal there is a police or not. Just only the special team said that they will detect the people is a catcher. They have some illegal ways, or also is that they will be set investigate. But now you know it's a police to catch them. There's who is them? They are not just only common skin or common shirt. You say there is a police. In the movement, you can see many no license. They can do is same as about the breaking down about the shop, and then they will be said that the action is become from about the student or the against the protester, because they also will try more and more about that, but because they same of about the CCP for someone is no just only say he is a police is okay. They no need to show their
to show their
license.
ID card.
Yeah.
Identity. There's no need for identity, no need for warrant,
yeah,
and no need for any present or any say permission or any documents.
yeah,
They can raid any shops. They can say like snatch anyone. They can detain anyone.
yeah. So
And just say they were police.
in the now Hong Kong, this is not a comet. It's a real. It's a happen, because you remember? It's a one picture is about in the train. The many students is captured out in the about in the train, and then where they are we are going.
Oh yeah.
This
Yeah,
picture,
indeed. So they were they're all chained.
yeah.
It's so like handcuffed, and they were put on train.
Yeah.
And nobody know where they have been taken to.
Yeah, so it's
Yes.
same on the Hong Kong for now. One student disappear is very normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So students disappeared, and then young people got disappeared, as a sort like a common thing, yeah.
Yeah.
In Hong Kong nowadays.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. Yeah. Okay.
So why the Kelly Lam said the Hong Kong no
No
separation of the power, because now Hong Kong is CCP control, and now Hong Kong is a police state country, city.
Police state.
Then how where about the special of power? No, that's we can say that the Kelly Lam is another one speech, speech about the CCP to take down the CCP.
Okay, yeah, we understand this. Apparently, the Secretary of Education, is young, yeah, this person, and he said the Secretary of